I was in the calendar, yeah, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, and I'm also featured in this year's 2023 calendar. So I've been in the calendar for 6 consecutive years, and that is just such an accomplishment to me. I did not make the calendar my first time, and honestly I feel like I did not make the calendar because my photos were trash. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. According to the title, you guys already know what this video is about. We have a Hooters video going on today, which is one of my favorite contents to make, and I'm going to be telling you guys how you can get into the 2024 Hooters calendar, because right now auditions have officially started and it's time to send in those submissions. So submissions are officially opened, and the due date for those submissions, according to the email, is February 10th, 2023. So we have a little less than a month to get those photos in. If you guys don't know how to send your submission, speak with your manager. An email did go out, so the manager should have all that information. There's different QR codes for different regions, so again, you just have to talk to your manager about how to submit your photos. But without further ado, we're gonna go ahead and get straight into this video, and hopefully by the end of this video you guys will feel more confident, excited, and just ready to send in those pictures. Okay, so before we get into this video, if you guys are familiar with me or you've watched my YouTube videos, I've been doing YouTube videos about Hooters for about 5 or 6 years now, maybe even 7, because I have been with the company for a very long time. And with that being said, I have been in the Hooters calendar for 6 consecutive years. I was in the calendar, yeah, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, and I'm also featured in this year's 2023 calendar. So I've been in the calendar for 6 consecutive years, and that is just such an accomplishment to me because y'all, when I say it's not easy, it's really not that easy. But I feel like once you get your foot in the door, it's pretty smooth from there, because you just get accustomed to how to do everything and you feel more confident in the photos that you do send in. So we're gonna start off first with what is the Hooters calendar. So according to Hooters, the Hooters calendar features 200 lovely Hooter girls from 6 countries, where they're chosen from thousands of candidates to grace the pages of the 15-month swimsuit calendar. So they choose 200 girls from thousands of submissions to grace the page of their 15-month swimsuit calendar. And I do want to say, when it comes down to the Hooters calendar, it's not determined by your age, your race, or the typical beauty standard that society has placed on us women. But I do want to say that it's pretty much determined based off your ability to be confident, get in front of the camera, and put your best foot forward. So do not feel discouraged if you don't feel good enough, or you feel like you don't meet the standard of being featured in a swimsuit calendar, because 9 times out of 10, if you work for Hooters, then you already meet the beauty standards that are in place, which in other words, we call those the image for Hooters. So you may catch me looking over at my phone, because I did type some notes and put some bullet points that I do want to go over, and I don't want to miss them. So you may catch me glancing back and forth. So literally, y'all, there are only 2 ways to get into the Hooters calendar. And they're 2 easy ways. So the first way to get in the Hooters calendar is the obvious. You must be employed at Hooters. You must work for Hooters. And I don't say that to be funny, I say that to be real, because a lot of times people that come into the Hooters restaurant, when they buy the calendar, they do sometimes ask, hey, do these girls really work for Hooters? Yes, every girl that is featured in the Hooters calendar is employed with Hooters. Whether that's a bartender, a host, or a Hooters girl, they work for Hooters. They are not paid actresses, they are not paid models. Every single one of those women that are featured in the calendar work for Hooters. So with that being said, another thing that I want to touch base on with being employed at Hooters is the fact that you must be in good standing with the company. And when I say good standing with the company, I mean you must Be on time when you go to work. You can't have 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 write-ups. Well, at that point, you probably would be fired. But you can't have, you know, a lot of write-ups. You have to basically be a good representation of the brand. Show up to work on time. Show up in makeup. Show up ready to go. Show up with a positive attitude, because those are just some of the job standards that Hooters has in place for us employees. And pretty much when it comes to Hooters, if you show up to work and do your job, you will reap the benefits. Like, you will be rewarded for showing up, doing your job, and just being a great representation for the brand. Okay, so the second way, we talked about the first way, and like I said, there's only 2 ways to get into the calendar. The first way, you must be employed with Hooters. The second way to get in the calendar is simply to submit your photos. And this may sound so cliche to say, oh, just submit your photos. But when I say submit your photos, I literally mean submit your photos. I feel like there are so many people who want to do this. They want to go after it, but they feel discouraged. They feel like they can't do it. So they back out. They don't submit their photos. They second guess themselves. They freak themselves out. When in reality, 9 times out of 10, you probably would have made the calendar if you just submitted your photos. I feel like taking the photos aren't the hard part. Actually submitting the photos and believing in yourself is where it gets a little tricky. So we're now going to talk about the photos that you should send in. So when it comes to photos, the photos do not have to be professionally taken. You can take the photos on your camera phone, whether that's an iPhone, an Android, or if you have a personal camera or like a vlogging camera, you can use that to take your photos. You do not have to hire someone, pay a lot of money to have these photos taken for submission. Honestly, I've seen in a lot of cases where the photos that were taken with an iPhone, those girls get picked over the girls who have taken photos professionally. Because a lot of times when you go in and take a professional photo, what happens? The photographer edits the picture, and that's one thing that Hooters does not like. They do not want any heavily edited pictures. Now, I'm not saying you shouldn't take professional pictures, because if that's your prerogative, if that's what you want to do, if that makes you feel more comfortable, then I advise you to do that. However, let that photographer know not to edit the pictures and to send you the raw footage straight from the camera. Now, if you do decide to take the photos with your camera phone, you want to make sure that you're not taking a selfie. Do not take a photo in the mirror, because that would not suffice. You need to have someone take the photo of you, or nowadays we're doing everything ourselves. You can even set your phone up to a tripod and use self-timer to take the photo. But you do want to make sure that you have a clean, crisp background and that you have good lighting, especially when it comes to the camera phones. I feel like a lot of times it's best to take photos in the daytime, because natural light is a 10 out of 10. Now, I'm going to show you guys an example. I'm trying to pull up on my phone, but I'm going to have it somewhere up here, of my first submission photos. This is so cringy. Oh my god. Okay, so I'm going to show you guys the photos that I sent in the first time that I made the calendar. And this was back in 2017, because I was trying out for the 2018 calendar. So these pictures are from 2017. Oh my god. So before I show you guys the picture, let me just say I was kind of smart about how I did this first go around. I actually sent my submission photos in like 2 days before submissions was closed, so I didn't have time to actually go take photos or have my photos taken. So what I did was I used photos that I had already taken for the Hooters pageant. So a few months prior to the calendar submissions being due, we had a Hooters pageant. That used to be a big thing back in the day. It still is a big thing, but it's not as big as it was back in like 2015, 16, 17, 18, 19, like in the teens. That's when it was huge. So we had a Hooters calendar. So we had a Hooters pageant, and of course during the pageant we take photos after the pageant. And I had taken some photos, and I decided to send these photos in as my submissions for the calendar, because again, it was last minute. I didn't have time to take any photos, and I looked through my phone. I said, oh, I got these pictures. I'll just send these in and see what I can do. So this first picture that I'm showing you guys right here is considered a full body shot. You can see from my head all the way down to my toes. You can see my stomach. My body was so banging then, like, I'm zooming in. My stomach was so flat. I used to work so hard because, again, back then, when it came down to the Hooters calendar and the Hooters pageant, it was serious. We were in the gym like every day, eating healthy, drinking nothing but water. Like, it was a serious thing. So this was one of the photos that I sent in as my full body. And then this was also a photo that I sent in. I do not like this picture. I look so stiff. But this was the second picture that I sent in as my full body. Again, you can see my entire body. And then for my headshot, I didn't have a headshot. So what I did was I took that first photo and I pretty much just cropped it to where you only saw like my chest and up. And I used that as my headshot. So those were the first 3 photos that I sent in for the Hooters calendar. And then I made the calendar that following year for 2018. And it's funny because I actually made the calendar in that bikini. The bikini that I have on in my submission photos is a bikini that I had on in the calendar. They love that bikini. That's the one they chose. So that's what I wore in the actual calendar. And I'm going to put that picture somewhere up here as well. And I'm going to show you guys another set of photos that I actually sent in as well. They got me in the calendar that was taken on the iPhone, but we'll get to that in a second. So another thing I want to mention when it comes down to your photos is that you want to wear a color that complements your skin tone. So for me, as a dark skinned chocolate girl, yellows, reds, pinks, even whites, I think those look really good on me. Silver, gold, colors of that sort. So like I said, just wear something that complements your skin tone. It makes you look appeasing. Second, you want to make sure that your hair, makeup, and your nails are done for these photos. When you take these photos, you want to be glammed up, but you don't want to be super glam, super dramatic. Just a natural light beat is fine. Pretty much what you want to do is take the photos as if you're already in the calendar. If you want to be in the calendar, are you going to not have your hair done? No. Are you not going to have on any makeup in a Hooters calendar? No. Are your nails going to be not done? No. So come as you would come if you were shooting for the Hooters calendar. Okay, so now we're going to get into some more photos that I sent in that have got me in the Hooters calendar. And these photos were actually taken from an iPhone. So this photo was actually taken on an iPhone in my friend's apartment. Crazy, right? So one thing about it, when you take photos on an iPhone, you want to make sure that you have a clean background. So on this photo, I was standing just, I think I was like in her, yeah, we were in her living room and just behind a white wall. It was during the day. She has big windows in her apartment, so we lifted up all the blinds and we did use natural light. And as you guys can see, I do have on a red bikini, and I feel like that red just really popped with my skin tone. Like, it really just made me stand out. And let's see, so this one is the second full body photo that I sent, and I just love this photo. My legs look so toned. So with this photo, I have a little bit more going on. I had this silver bikini, which I love, and then I had this Hooter top that I cut up, and yeah, it just gave me Hooter girl vibes, and I felt like it was something different. And I think that's what kind of attracted the calendar committee to these photos, because I did have on something that was Hooters related. So you do have like a Hooters swimsuit or a Hooters top that you can cut up and put a bikini on up under it. I think that would be a really good perk, and the committee would love that. And another thing I want to point out with these two photos is that, of course, they're both full body pictures, but in these photos, as well as the one I showed you guys before with my yellow on, what I do is take both of my photos in different angles. So like I said, you need 2 full body photos. I don't take both of my full body photos straight on. I take one straight on, and then I take one to the side. That way they can see what I'm working with from the front, as well as what I look like from the side. Because in the calendar, sometimes they're gonna have you posing from the front, sometimes they're gonna have you posing from the side, sometimes they're gonna have you like sitting down posing. You just never really know how you're gonna be posed. So you wanna make sure that you're showing off everything that you're working with. You wanna show that you can be versatile and you're not just one of those girls who just pose standing straight on. I'm also gonna show you guys my headshot. So this was the headshot that I used. This was actually a full body photo, but again, like I said, if you're not gonna use it, even if you do use it, if you're surfing face in it and it looks good, just crop it and it becomes a headshot. So these were my 3 photos that I used that also got me in the calendar. And I will be honest and say that I did edit these photos, but the only edits that I did to these photos was smooth my skin. So I smoothed my stomach, my arms. I did smooth my face as well, just to give me that seamless look, because again, these were taken on an iPhone and I didn't want the quality to be terrible. I don't feel like the quality is terrible, honestly, but I just wanted it to look a little more, I just wanted my skin to look a little more smoother. So like I said, do not heavily edit your photos. If you're gonna edit your photos, just make sure that you're not doing the most. We're not using face app. We're not changing our facial features, because they want to see what you're working with. They want to see the real you. They want to see what you would look like if you were in the calendar. So if you do edit, just do something small, like smooth your skin out, or mess with the like the brightness and exposure, the saturation, just to help with the color. But other than that, you do not want to change what you physically look like. Okay, so we're almost at the end. One thing that is a complete no is do not over sexualize your photos. No nude photos, no inappropriate bathing suits. Although this is a bathing suit calendar, a swimsuit calendar, you still want to keep it classy, because this is Hooters. It's a family restaurant, it's corporate. You do not want to send in any photos that would get you disqualified because you were over sexualizing yourself. Every photo that has been featured in the Hooters calendar is giving classy. None of it at all. I personally never seen a trashy photo, and I don't believe that any of my photos have been trashy in the calendar. So you just want to make sure that you're keeping it cute and you're keeping it classy at all times. And then lastly, I just want to say, be patient. So submissions are due February 10th, but typically you don't find out if you're able to actually shoot for the calendar until like spring, sometimes early summer. I know here in Tennessee, I live in Nashville, we typically shoot between April and sometimes June. I know for this year's calendar, we shot in May of 2022. So I sent my photos in February, and I didn't know that I was shooting for the calendar until May. So just be patient. You're not gonna hear something a week after. You're not gonna hear something 2 weeks after. You may not hear anything for a whole month. So just be patient. Do not get down on yourself. Do not get discouraged. And another thing I do wanna say, I'm not sure if you guys know, so how it goes is you send in your submission photos, and then from there, they let you know if you're gonna actually shoot for the calendar. And that's what we were just talking about. That's when you're gonna know if you're able to shoot for the calendar. And then once you shoot for the calendar, you don't know if you're actually picked to be in the calendar until 2 days before the calendar comes out. Sometimes you don't find out until the calendar actually comes out. I know for 2023 calendar, we didn't find out that we were in the calendar until the day before the calendar came out. So I mean, it's different for different regions, but typically that's how it works. You really don't know what's going on. You're kind of left in the dark. So you just have to be patient and try to stay positive during this waiting season. And if you don't make it, my advice to you is to try again and again and again and again. If you do not make the Hooters calendar, it is not the end of the world. So I started working for Hooters in 2014, and I couldn't try out for the 2015 calendar because I started too late. It was past the deadline. In 2015, I tried out for the 2016 calendar, and I can honestly sit here and say that I did not make the cut. I did not make the calendar my first time. And honestly, I feel like I did not make the calendar because my photos were trash. And that's just me being honest and being 100% real with myself. My photos were trash. The lighting was terrible. The quality was terrible. I looked a hot mess. And I wish I could find those photos, but I think I've long gone deleted those pictures. Those pictures are long gone out of my memory. I honestly don't even want to see those pictures. I know that would be so cringe. But I remember the day that I took those pictures, and they looked a hot mess, and I sent them in anyway, and I did not get chosen. So then in 2016, I don't remember if I tried out for the 2017 calendar or not. I honestly don't recall that. And then when 2017 rolled around, I tried out for the 2018 calendar, and I've been in the calendar ever since. Do not give up. Like I said, it's not the end of the world. Try again, try again, try again, try again, and keep putting your best foot forward, and you will make the calendar. Personally, for me, I don't know if I will be shooting for the calendar this year. I'm kind of up and down on the fence about it. I feel like I had a really great run. Like I said, being in the calendar for 6 consecutive years is crazy. Like, that's wild. But I do know that my journey with Hooters is, you know, coming to an end eventually. So I'm kind of on the fence about if I want to just go ahead and try out one more time. 7 is the number of completion. So I don't know if I want to just go ahead and try one more time for the Hooters calendar. It probably would be my last year. So like I said, I'm still on the fence about it. But I do just want to say good luck to everyone that's sending in those submission photos. And I hope to see you guys in the 2024 calendar. Good luck.